Fast forward, ini kamu awal so have AG politics already. Podcast or trending because make headlines. And na jembre na yidi aksumo awa. Any dia mahu braksi mu se ene yidi di kanya structure which must subscribe to the channel. Na afi share na from ensa into me enkabi. Any dia ma yang ko political house. Christian Council omo etimi kan bibi afa national cathedral no na ɔmanpanyin nso ayi wɔn ano na nsɛm a ɔmanpanyin ɛka nyinaa ne sɛ mopɛ sɛ metoa national cathedral no so deɛ ɛneɛ ɛyɛ sɛ meyɛ forensic audit ɛma yɛhu sika aban dadaa no ɛdi wura mu a ɛntumi ɛnwi me no wakase agye nsinsɛm a ɛda hɔ sisi a akɔyɛ swimming pool a onua ɛnya asɛm kotoa koraa na ɛba ne saa deɛ a na sɛ ɛbɛyɛ ebinom yɛbɛbɔ wɔn mu kwadu sɛ susu ampa de wɔn nsa abɔ ɔman sika na ɔmanpanyin gyembrɛ bra ɔkasa ɛfa national cathedral ho ɛne LGBTQ+ bill no na san ɛka biribi ɛfa LGBTQ+ ho ɛkyerɛ sɛ sisi a parliament sɛ ɛkɔba sɛ me ne wo kase sɛ parliament agye tum sɛ susu ampa ɔmfa ne nsa nhyɛ aseɛ ne ɛnyɛ mmara mpɔ saa adeɛ no ho ban sɛ yɛsoso saa adeɛ no so ɛwɔ man a ɔntwentwɛn ne n'ase ɔmanpanyin de ne nsa ɛbɛhyɛ aseɛ onua yɛmmɔ nwura nsɛm no ne yɛnhwɛ ne yɛkɔ ne deɛ ɛba age politics up.
Mahama has been stoking debates on key national issues. The Ghanaian Family Values Bill and the National Cathedral. You may already know that the assent to the controversial bill hit a snag in the previous parliament and appears to have stalled in the current House. President John Mahama says he will not hesitate signing the bill into law as long as Parliament passes it. Let's take a listen.
Excellency, the Christian Council notes with growing concern the prolonged silence surrounding the bill on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values. This has created uncertainty and tension within the citizenry, particularly among faith-based organizations and traditional communities.
The position of my government, marriage is between man and woman. A person's gender is determined at birth, and then also that the family is the foundation of our nation. That is our position. And so there are no questions or equivocations about what we believe. I believe that we are completely aligned with the Christian Council in terms of your belief. And so we agree with the Speaker to relay the bill and let Parliament, debate it. And if there are any amendments or whatever that have to be done. If the Parliament of the people of Ghana endorse the bill and vote on it and pass it, and it comes to me as president, I will sign it.
Now, the second issue is the National Cathedral. The president once again hints he is happy to build one under certain conditions. Now, this is not the first time this year that he has made a comment in line with continuing the controversial project. Back in January of this year, 2025, he said same, a position he reiterates in a meeting with Christian leaders. Again, take a look.
The Christian Council of Ghana continues to affirm its belief in the vision and necessity of a national cathedral as a unifying symbol of faith, gratitude to God, and moral renewal for our nation. While we are aware of the prevailing economic difficulties, we believe that the cathedral's completion under a transparent, accountable, and inclusive framework would serve as a spiritual and cultural landmark for generations to come.
I believe that at this time and age, with all the problems we have, $400 million to build a cathedral is excessive. I know Nigeria have built an ecumenical center, and I've been there. It's a decent, beautiful place, and they built it for $40 million. And so maybe some of the things are excessive, you know. Let's find somewhere, all of us, on National Day of Thanksgiving and Worship, we can all go there and worship God and thank Him for what He has done for us. And so when that forensic audit is over, our intention is to have a broad-based consultation with the Christian community to see how we can build a place that is decent for us to worship. But apart from that, make it a center where people can come and, look at its architecture and all that, and find that Christ, has a place in our hearts, in our nation.
Well, President John Dramani Mahama, then, forgive my manners, the man we see speak before the president is Enoch Thompson, who is chair of the Christian Council. Now, remember I was telling you that the president met with some Christian leaders. Those Christian leaders are members of the Christian Council. Now, let's stay on the subject. I want to talk to a man who has spoken extensively on these two subjects, the Ghanaian Family Values Bill and then the National Cathedral. Edem Senanu is an anti-graft campaigner. He's joining me now. Edem, I appreciate your time tonight on the program. The president's position on the bill must be reassuring, isn't it?
Oh, yes. It's probably the most affirmative policy statement on this issue, what we call the pro-family values bill, not anti-LGBTQ. But yes, really assuring to hear the president say that.
I see. Now, this puts the ball, if you go by what the president has said, it puts the ball right in the court of parliament again. Is there a will, as far as you're concerned? Do you see that there's a will to pass this anytime soon?
I can't tell. I know that the speaker is bent on getting it done. I'd like to assume that the circumstances under which this was passed by consensus on the 30th of February 2024 has not changed significantly to make it impossible. Even though I have always been of the view that this didn't need to go back to Parliament. I think that somebody needs to go to court to test, because I don't see any constitutional provision or legal when a parliament ends. It doesn't seem to be even the parliamentary practice captured anywhere. So I have a difficulty with that interpretation approach. But the president says he will assent to it, and the speaker says I will lay it. We will leave with that for now.
Now, Adam, what we'll have to grapple with on that score is the fact that, the speaker really has no vote in Parliament. The action then will be at the footsteps of the MPs themselves. But let's let that lie for a little bit, right? Because I want us to look at the second issue that the president has touched on. He's reiterated that we will audit, and by we, the government will audit and continue the cathedral project. Disappointed?
No, not really. I think I agree with the president to a large extent. I mean, my view has always been that the concept was one that I aligned with. Typically, from a project management view, you look at the concept, you look at the targets and scope, you look at the management competencies. I always felt that in terms of a concept of bringing people, denominations together, there was value in it. In terms of the target and scope, I had a problem. I always felt we should have done a feasibility to establish how much the Christian community can give towards this. And then in the context of how much could be available, then, determine the scope of the project. And so that the targets would be realistic. I've always thought that this ought not to have had to depend on state resources. It's a Christian thing. Let the Christians pay for it and let it be built in the context of what they can afford. And then you can phase it. Have a phase 1, a phase 2, a phase 3. Make sure that the aspects that can begin generating some income are brought online, and they can then generate resources that point into the next phase and what have you. So I was always worried with the scope, the choice of going out when architects in Ghana could have done it probably much cheaper. That was problematic for me. And then the management competencies, who you bring to manage the processes. So I tend to agree with the president that we probably can do this much cheaper. I'm not quite sure about the change of site. A lot of effort and investment has already gone into the originally determined sites, and I'm not quite sure whether suddenly relocating it will make it any easier. So I don't know. It may not need to cover the entire expense because we've already said perhaps scaling down and making it realistic will work, but I'm not entirely sure whether saying a new location works. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I see. I want to take you up on that, right? The fact that the president says maybe not at the current location, we should find a different place to put it, let it cost less. My question to you is why not?
I don't know for a fact. I assume that the investigations have been on. I mean, there are a number of anti-graft agencies that could be investigating. I don't know for a fact that A or B is investigating, so I cannot speak to that at the moment.
I see. I was asking earlier about, giving us a bit more on why you think that's perhaps because the damage has already been done, we should maintain the current location. But I see you're looking at other issues to do with the audits that the president has also talked about. But the question then will be, look, we haven't seen much, right, since the NDC came into office. There are those who then question as to whether or not, look, this is very contrary to what the NDC told us when they were in opposition. What would you say to such people?
I'm not quite sure whether there has been a variation from what they were saying. I think that the issues being raised had to do with oversight, the utilization of state resources. And remember that, yes, at the beginning, we were not told that state resources was going to go into this. So advocated and articulated. I did not have a state composition, because in my head I was saying, if Buddhists and traditionalists and other groups are not interested, I mean, this does not benefit them. Why should they be contributing to it? So, initially, the way they positioned it, it didn't seem as if we're going to have any problems. And so the concept by itself was fine. And then as we went along, things seem to have changed. And then it then raised eyebrows relating to, okay, state resources, how are they being managed? And who is in charge? What is being done? Is there value for money? I don't think that those questions by themselves demonstrate a change. And I think that the fact of saying we want a forensic audit attests to that. I don't think that the intention was ever to say that the concept by itself, and that's why I made a distinction between concept, hope, and targets, and then on the other hand, the management competencies that were brought to bear.
Now, Adam, in terms of fast-tracking this investigation or audit, what then are your expectations now that the president is hinting again, we would like to do this?
I'm not quite sure whether there has been a variation from what they were saying. I think that the issues being raised had to do with oversight, the utilization of state resources. And remember that, yes, at the beginning, we were not told that state resources was going to go into this. So advocated and articulated. I did not have a state composition, because in my head I was saying, if Buddhists and traditionalists and other groups are not interested, I mean, this does not benefit them. Why should they be contributing to it? So, you know, initially the way they positioned it, it didn't seem as if we're going to have.
Well, and I'm asking about your expectations, you know, going forward. Now that the president says we will audit, what are you looking out for?
Commitments. They should just make sure that these are honest, frank commitments that they are going to ensure they deliver on. Part of the challenge we have is that in the past we've had the political elite saying things and, you know, they didn't pull through. And so you are not quite sure whether to trust everything. We say these days is more like seeing is believing. So yes, we will take the president's comments at its face value. We look forward to him delivering on it. And yes, I also align with him that a forensic audit is important to understand what has already happened. I also believe that clearly the concept by itself is not a challenge. It is the scope and targeting, as well as how the things were managed. And let's see how we can do that better. I don't necessarily agree about a change of site or location, even though it might mean using far less of the geographical space than was intended originally.
Now, we also know that the president sent a very strong warning to his appointees who will be caught in graft. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that the president appears to be really on the move. Several things he's committing to. I listened to the clip where he talked about woe to whoever is the first to bring a scandal on his government. We wish the president well. He should keep his appointees on their toes. There's a lot that we wish could turn around, from Galamsey to the monies disappearing, to making sure that the moral values of our society are consolidated in a way that allows the next generation to do even better than we have done.
Adam, I appreciate your time with us. Adam Senano is an anti-graft campaigner. We've been talking about the Ghanaian family values bill, and then
So road construction projects runs for probably 12 months or probably 24 months or 36 months. So it is not as though the job creation will be intended for 1 year. Some of them might probably run from 2025 to 2032. At the end of the day, we need to look at the profile of our youth. What youth?
The profile
of our youth.
Okay.
You have university people, you have people who are skilled people. I'm not sure we have a database of our youth, the population of our youth, as what kind of job they are looking for. So when you look at this 800,000 job that we are talking about, road construction, they are jobs that are indirect. Indirect means that it's not stemming from the government directly. At the end of the day, when you juxtapose this against previous programs, we'll come back probably in 2029 and saying that where are the jobs, you know? So we need. But
is it not because people are being trained wrongly?
I wouldn't say that, because the youth has different needs. A lot of people have graduated from university. They don't have jobs. They have first class, they have second class, they have probably second lower, and they have no job. But these kind of jobs that we are looking for are jobs that are probably not related to a tertiary education. So my thinking is that we need to look at industrial transformation. How do we build sustainable job creation, which the youth of this country, everyone can have a piece of the cake to benefit? Because we've had several programs. We have GIDA, we've had NAPCO, we've had NYE programs, and we're back to square one.
So these are some of the areas the finance minister mentioned: private sector recruitment, public sector expansion, infrastructure development.
we and some out of team course watch and so. Mamma was so Jim or had a sense of body in their doom. Onya, Bessambo, na Yasum, ha, a gay politics.